Good morning. Before I call the meeting to order, I'd like to note for the record that I will be serving as acting chairman. I now call to order the meeting of the members of the New York Job Development Authority for Tuesday, March 20th, 2018. The members have received the written materials in advance of this meeting and are free to ask questions at any time. I'd like to note we welcome public comment on our agenda items. To ensure maximum opportunity for participation, speakers representing themselves may speak up to 2 minutes each, and those representing groups may speak up to 4 minutes with one speaker per group. Speakers' comments may only address the items being considered at today's meeting. Before we begin with the substantive portion of today's meeting, I will ask members whether anyone has any potential conflicts of interest with respect to any of the items on the agenda. If so, I will ask you to please make an appropriate disclosure on the record at this time. We will then be sure that you may recuse yourself from any discussion or vote with regard to such items. Hearing none, the first item on today's agenda is the approval of the minutes from November 10th, 2017 members meeting. Are there any questions, comments, additions, or deletions? If not, I would entertain a motion for approval.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. I would now call upon Sean Malone to present the first item on today's agenda, the next item on today's agenda, which relates to request for authorization to make JDA loans through the JDA Agricultural Loan Fund Program. Sean.
Good morning. In June 2016, the JDA board approved the creation of the JDA Agriculture Loan Fund Program, through which selected organizations would be authorized to make loans to New York State agribusinesses from $50,000 to $200,000. At that time, the following lenders were approved to serve specific regions of the state: New York Business Development Corporation as a statewide lender, Pathstone Enterprise Center as a Finger Lakes lender, Farm Credit East as another statewide lender, and the Genesee Finger Lakes Regional Planning Council serving the Finger Lakes. It should be noted that this organization later declined participation in the program. In December 2016, the authority approved the following organizations as additional participating lenders: the Delaware County Local Development Corporation for the Southern Tier, Development Authority of the North Country, Hudson Valley Agribusiness Development Corporation for the Mid-Hudson and Capital Region, Mohawk Valley Economic Development District for the Mohawk Valley, Reed Equity Lending Corporation for the Southern Tier, and the Southern Tier Enterprise Development Organization for Western New York. Upon further discussion, JDA staff has determined that the following organizations should be considered and approved as additional lenders in the program: the Central New York Enterprise Development Corporation as a Central New York lender, and the Mohawk Valley Rehabilitation Corporation serving the Mohawk Valley. MORCO, which is the acronym, will be taking the place of its parent organization, the Mohawk Valley Economic Development District, at the request of its leadership. Upon adoption of the aforementioned changes, the participating lenders in the program will be as follows: Central New York Enterprise Development Corporation, Delaware County Local Development Corporation, Development Authority of the North Country, Farm Credit East, Hudson Valley Agribusiness Development Corporation, Mohawk Valley Rehabilitation Corporation, New York Business Development Corporation, Pathstone Enterprise Center, Reed Equity Lending Corporation, and the Southern Tier Enterprise Development Organization. Happy to answer any questions.
My question is, why did the one drop out? Genesee?
We had spoken to their leadership, and they basically just decided that at that time they weren't able to take on the additional requirements of the program.
And are you comfortable that Pathstone Enterprise Center will be able to serve Finger Lakes efficiently?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, just one question. So, if one of these entities makes a loan and that loan goes bad, then what happens in terms of any recourse we have back to that lender or to the ultimate borrower? How does that all work? If one of the
we're not doing write-offs with this program. We're not doing credit enhancements, so the lender would ultimately be responsible for that, for paying that back.
To us?
Yes.
And do we feel comfortable they have sufficient collateral?
Yes.
Okay.
Any further comments or questions from the members with regard to this item? Any comments from the public with regard to this item? If not, I will entertain a motion for approval.
Motion?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. I'd like to now continue the Sean Malone show. Agenda, which relates to the JDA loan for the Sullivan County Fabrication, Inc. This item is being presented for the members' information, and no vote will be required. Sean.
Thank you. In April 2017, the JDA Board approved its participation in a $1.8 million JDA loan to Sullivan County Fabrication, Inc. for the purchase of machinery and equipment. The original approval stated that the borrower would create 27 full-time jobs at the project location within 3 years of loan disbursement. As noted in the initial materials, SCF is wholly owned by Daniel Resnick, who, along with Richard Swift, owns Resnick Supermarket Equipment Corporation and Supermarket Parts Warehouse, Inc. Subsequent to the original approval date, an incentive proposal dated November 1st, 2017 was offered by Empire State Development to Sullivan County Fabrication and called for the creation of 35 new full-time jobs between the three related entities at the project location. Combined with the 105 existing full-time jobs, these entities will be required to employ 140 full-time permanent positions from the 1-year anniversary of loan closing through the term of the loan. Consequently, in lockstep with ESD, the JDA job creation commitment for this project is amended as follows. Sullivan County Fabrication will create 18 jobs at the project location. Resnick Supermarket Equipment will retain 90 jobs and create 8 at the project location. And Supermarket Parts Warehouse will retain 15 jobs, creating 9 at the project location.
All right. All done?
Yep.
All right. Any questions, members? Any questions or comments from the public? If not, we'll continue with the next agenda item. I'd like to again call upon Sean to present a summary report regarding the New York JDA loan portfolio. Again, this presentation is for the members' information only, and no vote will be required. Sean.
Thank you. As of January 31st, 2018, the New York Job Development Authority's portfolio has an outstanding principal balance in excess of $32 million across 37 active projects divided between standard commercial loans and capital leases. At present, JDA's portfolio includes 12 capital leases, all of which remain in good standing. Due to the overall success of its current leases, JDA is seeking to extend the terms of a number of its capital lease projects. Such extensions represent a mutually beneficial endeavor that aids New York State businesses by limiting their tax liability while allowing JDA to maintain steady cash flow in the coming years. The spreadsheet provided entails cumulative JDA activity since 2013. Since April 2017, when the last JDA portfolio summary was presented to the JDA board, 5 loans have closed, totaling over $10 million. To date, these loans have generated $267,281 in interest income. Staff is also finalizing the implementation of the $10 million JDA Agriculture Loan Fund, and we expect to have that program active shortly. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the members with regard to this item?
Can you just explain the lease? What are you asking to do, or what are you doing with the lease program?
Well, we have a number of leases that were. Do you want to?
New diesel buildings that were originally JDA loans. We took back the properties and leased out the properties, allowing the tenant, the new tenant, not only to take advantage of financial betterment for, in their point of view, also get pilot payments because we pay the taxes, they pay us in lieu of taxes. So instead of the loan going bad, we ultimately found another tenant for these facilities. So it keeps the stream of income coming into us. Eventually, we'll work out a deal with them where they'll probably buy back the building. In fact, one of the projects I'm working on now is just such a case where a company in the Finger Lakes region is coming to us to help them finance the addition of a building that they're currently leasing out through JDA.
This occurred in the early 1990s.
Right.
It's not something recent. With
These
the
are-
recession of the early 90s, we found ourselves in a position of having to do this to sort of salvage the situation.
And they're all current at the time. And the pilot payment that we receive, I'm assuming, is less than their taxes,
Yes.
than the real estate taxes.
All the new tenants are new tenants. They're not. It
Yes.
wasn't leased back to
Yes.
the prior.
Right.
Great.
Any further comments or questions from the members? Any comments or questions from the public? There being no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Motion.
Second?
Motion carries. Thanks everyone for participation in today's meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for your patience.